That morning, the sun had just slipped through the gap in my classroom window, casting warm light across the neatly arranged old wooden desks. The scent of new books and crayons filled the room, while children's laughter echoed cheerfully in the hallway. Everything felt perfect. My students were learning eagerly, and I felt like I was part of a world that was safe and warm. I loved this routine, opening the classroom windows for fresh air, arranging the books on the shelves, listening to my students' funny little stories, and writing notes about their progress. Nothing was strange, nothing unsettling. Everything felt ordinary, peaceful, and comforting. That day, I even caught myself smiling when I saw Liam, the shyest student in the class, finally gather the courage to read aloud in front of everyone. Everything looked just like any other day until the voice appeared. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, a soft sound, like a whisper, coming from the corner of the room. But when I turned toward the bookshelf near the window, the air suddenly grew cold and the voice came again, clearer this time. Emma. My heart thumped. I looked around, but the kids were busy with their activities, completely unaware. Liam's desk, which I had praised earlier for his bravery, now seemed strangely empty, even though he was sitting right there. The voice called me again, this time from behind a shadow in the corner. I sensed something was wrong, something I couldn't explain, yet it wasn't aggressively frightening either. I tried to calm myself and think logically, convincing myself it was just an echo or fatigue playing tricks on me. But there was a curiosity tugging inside, refusing to let me ignore it. I decided to find the source of that voice, even though my heart trembled. That was the moment I realized. The classroom that had always been full of laughter and comfort now held something mysterious, something waiting to be discovered. I decided to investigate after the dismissal bell rang and all the students had gone home. The classroom was quiet now, with only the soft ticking of the wall clock. I walked slowly, following the whisper that grew faint but still felt like it was calling my name from the corners of the room. First, I checked the bookshelf. Nothing there. Then I turned toward the whiteboard, where I usually wrote lesson plans, and noticed faint chalk marks forming letters. E-M-M-A. My heart pounded. Was it a coincidence, or was someone, or something, trying to communicate with me? Day after day, the voice returned during class, always gentle, never disturbing the students directly. Sometimes it came from beneath the desk, behind the window curtain, or from the corner near the teacher's room. Each time I tried to rationalize it, the whisper seemed to challenge me, deepening my curiosity. I set a goal. I needed to understand who or what was trying to speak to me and why it chose this classroom. I started taking notes, recording strange sounds, and marking every unusual occurrence. But the more I investigated, the more signs appeared. Books began shifting on their own, chairs moved without anyone touching them, and a faint shadow always slipped away whenever I approached. Though scared, I felt challenged. There was a strange warmth in my chest, almost as if the voice wasn't trying to frighten me, but to deliver an important message. I knew I had to keep searching for answers, even if the path was full of puzzles and uncertainty. One afternoon, when the school was quiet and the lights began to dim, I heard the voice more clearly than ever. It wasn't just a whisper. It called my name with urgency. Emma, look over here. I followed the sound to a corner of the classroom I rarely visited. There, I found an old, dusty box I had never seen before. When I opened it, all my notes and recordings about the strange sounds scattered into the air as if mocking me. Everything I had done to understand the mystery seemed pointless. I felt defeated. Every attempt I made to find answers had failed. The voice stayed, but it grew harder to decipher. My heart ached. How could I solve this mystery without causing chaos in class or frightening my students? There was only one choice left, one that felt impossible. I had to face the voice alone without help, stepping deeper into the mystery than ever before. leaving myself alone in an empty classroom, surrounded by shadows and whispers that were becoming more real. I took a deep breath and turned on the small desk lamp in the corner, hoping it would give me some courage. That was when something unexpected happened. The faint shadow in the room began to form the shape of an old teacher, someone who had taught in this classroom decades ago. But what startled me even more was that the shadow smiled and waved at me, as if waiting for me to understand. My fear softened into awe and curiosity. The figure wasn't trying to scare me. Instead, it seemed to offer guidance. Suddenly, all the scattered papers lifted themselves and arranged neatly on the table, forming a clear pattern, a hidden message from the classroom's past, reminding me of the importance of attention, patience, and kindness toward my students. The biggest twist was the voices came from the lingering memories and spirits of the teachers who once taught here, still watching over the class to ensure the children learned happily and safely. Everything I had recorded, the whispers, the movements, the shadows, was their way of communicating, guiding me as a new teacher to understand the true values and responsibilities of the profession. With this newfound understanding, I faced my fear and welcomed their message. I began speaking to the empty classroom, greeting the invisible companions, thanking them for their guidance, and promising to care for this place with all my heart. A warm, peaceful feeling settled into the room. The cold air and whispers faded, replaced by a gentle glow that made the classroom feel alive again. I realized my mission wasn't just to uncover the mystery of the voice, but to learn to listen even when there was nothing to see, understanding that every small action from a teacher carried great impact. With courage and attentiveness, I could keep the spirit of this classroom alive, not just for my students, but also for the legacy of the teachers who came before me. Since that day, I was no longer afraid of whispers or shadows. Instead, I realized the mystery was a gift, a unique way the world reminded me of the importance of love, patience, and care for every child. Every smile, every laugh in the school hallway felt like an echo from the teachers who once stood here, teaching me that being a teacher wasn't only about delivering lessons, but also about protecting the hearts and spirits of our students. I learned that sometimes miracles come in unseen forms, and courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to move forward despite it. Now, the third grade classroom filled with books, crayons, and children's laughter has become a place where the past, present, and future blend. A room that not only educates, but also guards a quiet and beautiful magic. And I, Emma Collins, smile to myself every morning as I open the classroom window, feeling less alone. Because I know those voices will always be there, guiding me forever.